I don't want to be in that vibration. You know, I've seen a lot. I have, accepted a lot of things. And when I started to reevaluate my life, and I decided to get therapy and to really take a real intrinsic look in my life, for my life, like the women that I was seeing, and I'm, again, this is no shade, like that's not what I wanted for my future. And sometimes we hide under this thing called the anointing, and we hide behind this whole church world, and at the end of the day, we know how to exegese a text. We know how to formulate a sermon, and we know how to do all of these things, and we can give you the Hebrew or the Greek etymology of the word, and all of these things, but still be unhappy. And I just remember being on a prayer call, and this one lady, amazing lady, by no stretch of the imagination, she's an amazing woman. But when you start to heal, you start to hear things a lot clearer. And I was like, man, she's angry. And we're around that, and we're being cultivated in that, and then we in turn think that that's the way to the kingdom. And I decided that wasn't the way to the kingdom for me. And it wasn't this whole thing about, well, they need to know that they're Alexis, this is the path that you're on. Dude, is that what you want for yourself? Is that what you want your emotional existence to look like? And I decided that that's not what I wanted. And I can remember being in a therapy session and really talking about these parts of me. And I was like, I remember saying to my therapist, I got to get rid of her. And my therapist said, no, let's figure out why she exists. And no one had ever said that to me. Because from that whole church world, I'm taught to throw my parts away that don't look good, or that we label as sin. And my therapist was like, no, let's find out why she exists, and let's decide how we want to move forward with her. And that was a different approach for me. That was a different type of conversation. And so I am glad that I took the route that he presented before me, because I didn't have to. I could have stayed in that old thinking, and it's just like, oh, that's not of God, and went through that whole little spiel, but not realizing, no, let's be kind to her. Let's find out why she exists, and let's release her in a way that you don't create more harm to yourself emotionally. Because the way that I was taught from that church world, if it's not good or it don't appear to be God, then you throw it away, you get rid of it. But nobody had never asked me, or stated, let's find out why she exists, or let's find out why this part of you exists, and let's kind of see where the birth of that originated from. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't go to church, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't get on prayer lines. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that I was in an environment that presented itself for me one way, but the underlining thing was unhealthy emotions, calling it God, and I didn't want to exist like that anymore. And so, even being on this journey, being on this path, or whatever we want to call it, I just try to promote people to filter. I try to promote people, to really heal these parts of themselves, in a way that they are kind to themselves, that they are loving towards themselves. You know, for some people it is a therapist. For me, it's something else. You know, people, and I'm not here to promote the way that you should do it. What I am saying is that if you realize from listening to this video that you something came up for you, then you have to create a plan on how you want to heal those emotions. You know, even in the 21 days of, I do the 21 days of healing, and there's a part in the course where one of the days, you know, we talk about what we're feeling, and, you know, write a letter or get in the mirror and say what you know, need to say. I do not promote you giving the letter to the person who you're angry with. I do not promote, you know, you getting on the phone and telling that person no, because from that perspective, a plan has to be created, because there are certain things that you have to consider. But what I do create space for is a opportunity to release those feelings and those words and those thoughts, to help start to get them out of the body, because the body holds memory, you know. And we have a billion cells, and each cell has its own memory. We are a human computer, and the birds are vibrating, you know, and we have to be so cognizant of how we really want to exist, and the equation of self is so important. It's so important. And, you know, deciding to move forward and create room for happiness, and create room for harmony, and create room for being centered, and create room for internal peace, create room for calmness. And that's not to say that you don't get angry. That's not to say that you don't get upset. When you start to practice this, or you start to live in this way, you no longer live there for a long period of time. You filter, like, I feel this way because, like, that made me mad because, and you don't sit and you don't stew in it, you know. And being able to be one with that, you minimize being passive aggressive, you know. You minimize being bitter, you minimize being angry. You learn to exist in a way that the things that used to rule you are no longer ruling you. I make this statement quite often: that which you try to control is actually controlling you, you know. And we don't realize that, because we're in this constant state of being on 1,000. You sometimes you really do have to get in that do nothing ministry. That's something that I created, like, in 2014. I had no idea what I was actually saying. The do nothing ministry. Or 2013, somewhere around there. The do nothing ministry. You know? How can I be kind to myself today? And kindness does not mean going to get my nails done or going to get my feet done. How can I be kind to myself emotionally? How can I be kind to myself mentally? All of that plays a role in the equation of self, of how do I truly want to exist? Do I want all these other voices that have told me all of these things to be in my head, and I don't know how to think for myself? Do you even understand how difficult it is to get somebody to really start thinking for themselves? Because we group think so much, and we've been taught to group think. Even asking somebody something as simple, well, what does that look like for you? Because nobody never asked them that question. Oh, I want a great relationship. Well, then what does that look like for you? I want to be happy. Well, what does that look like for you? I want to do this. Well, what does that look like for you? And it's difficult because we're always being told what to do. And the moment that you decide to say, hey, I thank you for everything that you've taught me. I thank you for what this church world had to provide it for me. I take all the healthy pieces with me. But moving forward, this is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want to sound like. You know, I want to be present in certain things. I want to be present in doing this. I want to be present in doing that. And there is a whole dynamic that will begin to shift in you internally. It really is. That's why I practice meditation. Because it really does bring this centeredness, this harmony, you know, of just this state of quietness. Giving my body the ability to just be still. And it's not hyper. The equation of self. You really have to figure out what you want to look like. You know? And I say this, I'm not saying those other things are wrong. What I'm saying is that it's not right for me. I'm in this space. If you feel like that's what you need to be doing, then you go ahead and you do that. If you feel like that's what you want, you go ahead and you do that. The challenge with some of my people, you know, because when I decided not to group think no more, is because I didn't want to do it their way, then I somehow was wrong. See, I don't have to condemn where I was to be right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. What I'm saying is no longer right for me. And but because it appears to be abnormal, it appears to be not of God, it appears to be all of these things. And ultimately I had to be content with that and just say thank you for sharing space and time with me. You know, I had to honor the space that I got to share with them. I had to honor the things that I was taught by them, and the things that I've experienced with them, whether it was laughter, whatever it was amazing conversations when we were in that same vibration, you know. But that which doesn't remain dissolves, and I had to become clear with that. I had to become one with that, you know. That this Alexis that I was trying to be or become couldn't be held back because of what others thought I should be. And now I'm in spaces and I go places and people who I don't even know will walk up to me and be like, "What are you doing?" They don't even know me. You know, because I don't have that set face of that set face of anger. You know, that's I smile more and I can remember not smiling. But I had to do what was going to create harmony for me. I was the one who had cancer in my body. The people I was around didn't have cancer in their body, so they didn't have the right to tell me what my healing process should look like, what my healing plan should look like. You know? And so it is a beautiful thing. And every day is not perfect, and everything does not go the way that I think it should go. But at the end of the day, there is a certain peace that coexists with me. There's a certain calmness that coexists with me. There's a certain harmony that coexists with me. There's a certain centeredness that coexists with me. The equation of self. And so I hope that this information has been tremendously beneficial to you. Again, seek out help, create a plan, and try to move forward the best that you can, and learning to figure out what's there, what's holding you back, and so on and so forth. And until next time, Ashe, love you much. Bye-bye.